Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I really appreciate you tuning in to this video. This video we're going to talk about the top 10 things to look for when you're buying a pop-up camper. So just wanted to do this video on this topic because there were a lot of things that I wish I had thought of when we bought our pop-up that I didn't look for, that didn't really burn me, but there were things that had to kind of be looked at and fixed before I felt comfortable using our pop-up. So anyway, want to get this video started, but real quick, if you would go ahead and drop me a like, subscribe, and ding the little bell notifications so that you know each time I post a new video. Do a lot of videos about camping, and then of course just doing different projects around the house. I've got a Nova that I'll be rebuilding hopefully soon. I've already done a video, one video on that one. Also just going to be doing things like cooler challenges and Coke and Mentos challenge, all kinds of little fun things that we'll do. So if you like that kind of content, please go ahead and, like I said, drop me a like, subscribe, and ding the bell notification so that you are up to date on what's going on the channel. So first things first, let's go ahead and jump into the top 10 things I think you should look for when you're buying a pop-up camper. Number one, flooring. Make sure that you check the floor of the camper. A lot of times pop-ups are bad about having leaks, previous leaks that maybe have been fixed, but they didn't really take care of the whole damage that was done to the floor. When we bought our pop-up, I walked around the inside and stepped real hard. I'm a big guy, and so I figured if it wasn't soft under me, then it was pretty solid. But what I didn't check, and I wish I would have, was it was kind of getting dark and it was starting to sprinkle, and I didn't lay down on the ground and really get up under it, because I found 3 soft spots that I couldn't find just walking around on the inside because of storage and other things like that. And the major soft spot that I found, 2 of them weren't that big a deal because they weren't where anything weight bearing was gonna be, but the one major one was under the crank, and I had to do a lot of repair work to the floor right there, which you can see that video on my channel. I'll probably link it in this video so you can go back and see what I'm talking about on the floor repair. That was a big project. So definitely number one, check the inside flooring. Number 2, check the outside flooring, because that's where 2 of the 3 damaged areas were that I didn't check when we bought that pop-up. So that's 2 things, inside flooring and outside flooring. Now for number 3, just the lift system in general. You want to make sure that it's easy to access, to be greased and maintained. You want to make sure that it's not already been damaged, that the crank works properly, that the crank that you stick the crank handle into, that it's not all wallered out or anything like that. You want to make sure all that's operational. You want to make sure that it'll give you full extension on the pop-up and close with ease without catching or anything getting stuck, anything like that. You want to make sure that the lines in it aren't damaged, like that they haven't already been repaired, like they snapped. And because I've seen people take a snapped line, pull it together with some excess, and then do a little like a U-bolt style patch. And I mean, I guess that works, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. So those are things you definitely want to look for. Number 4, the canvas. So on the pop-up that we bought, it was 36 years old, and obviously the canvas had holes in it and things like that. They told me it didn't leak, which they were right, it didn't leak, but it was patched basically with clear tape. Now, to be fair, it didn't leak. And so when I got there and saw the holes, I was like, well, they're not leaking because they were patched with clear tape. But hey, it worked. So I did eventually find a little bitty drip, 2 little bitty drips on the side, but it wasn't nothing major. And probably a little Scotch Guard spray or something will probably take care of that. So but you definitely want to check the canvas inside and out. Look at all the seams where they were sewn together. Really go over that with a fine-tooth comb, because that's essentially your pop-up. I mean, if there's a problem with your canvas, you're going to be fully in the elements, whatever they are. If it's raining, snowing, windy, cold, hot, you know, if there's a problem with your canvas, that's an issue. So you want to definitely make sure that you check that. Don't be afraid of a little dirt, you know, if it's dirty or whatever, but, you know, definitely check the seams and just look for evidence that it's been moldy or mildew. All right, so number 5, check the sides of the pop-up for rot. In our pop-up, I didn't think to check that. And as I got into fixing that floor issue, I found some rot in the side wood panels. Now, it is in the side, so it wasn't load bearing or anything like that, and it had the aluminum sheeting over it, so I didn't really worry about it too much. The worst thing I was going to have to do was maybe just run an extra bead of caulk around or something. I just wasn't overly concerned. But that might bother you more than it bothers me, so definitely check the sides for rot too. Number 6, check all the appliances, the heater, lights, fan, all the plugs. If it's got a radio, check the radio. Check all of those things. You know, take your phone with you, plug it in, make sure that it's got the proper inverter and everything. That's not gonna. Sometimes I've heard of certain plugs not charging today's new phones. So, you know, think about those things and take those with you. Take a plug-in radio or, you know, lamp or something to check those and check the inverters and stuff. You know, and if it can run on battery power, flip the inverter over to battery power and make sure it's working properly that way as well. I've already mentioned the canvas outside for holes and the seams and things, and I kind of touched base. Number 7 is canvas on the inside for mold and mildew. That really kind of goes in with number 4 that I mentioned, so I'll add another thing so we'll still have 10 things to go over. Number 8, check the tires. When I bought our pop-up, the tires on it were from 1995. They were 26 years old. So those things were dry rotted and it was just terrible. Absolutely terrible. So please check the tires. You know, make sure you've got proper air in them. Make sure that don't have slow leaks. Check for dry rot. And if you're not comfortable with towing it home, go put new tires on it immediately. Trust me, spending $100 or $200 before you head out with it is a lot better than having an accident on the way home or even just doing major damage to the camper if the tire gives out and blows while you're towing it home. Number 9, check the frame. I know a lot of new campers have aluminum frames, but if you're like me and you buy older items, they're still going to have the metal frame, so you want to make sure it's not rusted through. You know, check for pitting and things like that. You know, just make sure that it's in good enough shape. You can hit it, you know, with a can of spray paint if it's just a little rusty and it's not thick rust or anything like that. It's just kind of surface rust, and that can help stop that and keep that from getting worse. I know I did that on the trailer tongue renovation on our pop-up, which I can link that video as well, so you can go back and watch that. That was a quick little restoration on that, and it turned out great. I was really happy with the way it turned out. Number 10, wiring. Check the wiring. Check your trailer lights. Check it all. Okay, check inside, check outside, everything. When I bought our pop-up, it did not. The wiring did not work, and you know, I trusted the guy. He told me that when he hooked it up to haul it home because it was a family RV, he said they worked, and for whatever reason they weren't that day. So that's like, you know what, don't worry about it. You know, maybe it's just something else. And come to find out that some of the wiring had never even been hooked in. Some of it had been chewed through by mice. So it is possible that when he left from where his family's home was to get it down here from up north, and it is possible that maybe a mouse was chewing through the wires on the ride home. Who knows? So but anyway, so I had to do a lot of wiring on that. I had to rewire from the trailer tongue, just before the trailer tongue, all the way to the end of the tongue, so that because there were 3 splices in that wiring, 3 within a 2-foot section, and I just could not take that. That was just, that made me nervous, and I did not like that whatsoever. So that's 10 right there. So always check the wiring, go through it with a fine-tooth comb, take the time. Some of the lights that they had replaced on the side of the trailer had never even been wired in. They had just took the old one out, cut the wires, screwed this one in, and never hooked the wires up. So since I skipped one, or I actually put 7 and 4 together talking about the canvas, I'll give you another one. We'll call this 10.5, and just say check the fire extinguisher. 1, make sure it's got a fire extinguisher. 2, check the date on it, because if it's out of date, you need to replace it. So hey, I hope that this top 10 things to look for when you're buying a pop-up helps. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ding the bell notifications so you know when I post a new video. And go check out some of those other videos I was telling you about as well. Y'all have a great day.
Cut.
Good job, baby.